course, you've all heard about the untimely death of Marshawn Kneeland, NFL player. And, listen, I'm not really a big football fan, so I don't know a lot about the players. But, I really just wanted to highlight a couple things I've been seeing online. People are already here with the conspiracy theories in reference to the police involvement, and they're trying to find some type of connection, thinking that, or alluding to that the officers had something to do with this. You guys, we don't really have much information out. Shout out to TMZ and their trifling behavior, constantly releasing personal and private information before the family has a chance to process anything, right? They're really known for this, you guys. We're living in a world now where they really will weaponize and profit off of your tragedies and things of that nature, right? It's a disgusting world we live in, you guys. But nonetheless, the bigger conversation is about mental health, right? And a lot of times I think we look at these situations and we look at the person's life and we try to equate that with perfection, right? Like, this person has all this money, this person is famous, this person this. We just can't wrap our head around why someone would take their life. And honestly, it has nothing to do with those things. To be honest, it doesn't have anything to do with those things. And I think over the years, I've seen and worked so many suicide cases with millionaires. And my job, obviously, when I get to the scene, is to make sure it actually is suicide, and it actually it's not a cover up or some type of staged crime scene to make it look like an accident or make it look like someone took their own life. So that's where I come in from an investigative standpoint. And so I think this is what makes this case interesting, because it all started from a traffic stop. Essentially, the outcome of this is coming off of a traffic stop. But from what we're hearing now, that this is something that he has been battling with prior to the police getting engaged. All right. So let's listen to this news clip. Let's kind of get some more detail, and then I want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's just a horribly sad story, obviously. Around 10:40 p.m., 10:39 to be exact, Lauren, Frisco police got a phone call from the Texas Department of Public Safety, essentially asking for help, requesting help with a pursuit that was going on that had entered Frisco. Police momentarily, for a few minutes, lost track of this vehicle that they were trying to pursue. It's not exactly clear why the initial stop was enacted. There are some reports that it was because there was a traffic violation. Anyway, this car that we now obviously believe to be Marshawn Kneeland was in the pursuit, gets away for a few minutes. Cops ultimately find the car a few minutes later, but the vehicle is empty. It had been involved in a crash on the Dallas Parkway. Police then set up a perimeter, and they are trying to find the driver of the car, again, who we ultimately find out was Marshawn Kneeland. They use drones, they use canines, and ultimately, after 2 hours, using a drone that has some sort of heat-seeking technology where they could find the warmth of a body, they located Kneeland deceased in a portable toilet, and it appears it was from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We haven't confirmed the information, but there are reports out there that indicate that he was traveling at a very high rate of speed, and that was the reason for the initial stop, although they sadly didn't get him stopped. Try and pull him over, and he again momentarily gets away and then flees. But not confirmed by us, but the reports are that he was traveling at a very high rate of speed.
So initially, what they're saying is this was, he committed some type of moving violation, and the officers were trying to stop him, and they couldn't get him stopped. Followed him long enough, or they tried to follow him. They kind of lost sight of him. Eventually, they see his vehicle wrecked out, and then now they start looking for him. They use drones that have some technology on it, because again, this is at nighttime, right? So we do have, sometimes we use the helicopters, but we have drones as well. Every department's different, and it'll pull up heat signature depending on how far or how long or whatever. So I do hear why people might be, in question, like, I don't know. This just seems kind of suspicious that there's kind of this gap in between the pursuit, and then the pursuit's broken, and then they find him miraculously, and then he has a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So I see where people are going with that. I get the, wanting to try to put two and two together. But here's the other issue. The issue is when you listen to the 911 call, it starts to paint a different picture. All right. So
there's about a 2-hour time frame you're saying from where he leaves the vehicle to where they discover him.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Lauren. It's from 10:39 to, it's even more actually, Lauren. I think I said 2 hours, but from 10:39 p.m. To ultimately found at 1:31 a.m.
So let me say this. I think this is where the challenge is for a lot of people who are coming with a lot of conspiracy theories and insinuating that the police may have taken his life, right? And they're trying to cover it up. That's what made me want to cover this. And again, obviously, we need a full investigation. We need to see body cam footage. Obviously, anything is possible, right? But I think why I feel like that's unlikely is because it seems like the family was already involved and already kind of pointing out some things, some issues in reference to his mental health. You hear that in the 911 tape, which we're going to play. That way we can hear exactly kind of what information was being relayed. So another thing, though, is that, that gap in time, right? I think he said it's almost a 3-hour window from 10 o'clock to then like 1:40 a.m. They finally find him. I don't know how they tracked him. And with that, if you use a canine dog from the vehicle, yes, it's very possible for that vehicle to really pick up on, maybe any type of, maybe there's something left in the car, some type of article of clothing that the dog was able to sniff out and then track, right? That's extremely possible. And I don't know what other technology that they use. They said they use like a heat tracker, some type of heat sensing device, maybe on a drone. So this is going to be interesting. So let's listen to the 911 tape. That way we can get a better understanding. Let me give you my thoughts when we pull it up.
Good. We're talking to the girlfriend. She's trying to call his agent, but we're trying to get him to call him first. But she's saying he is armed and has a history of mental illness, and her quote was, "He will end it all."
Good.
So the girlfriend calls and makes contact with the police, talks to the dispatcher. The girlfriend says he's armed, okay? And she's afraid because he claimed that he's going to end it all, okay? What does that mean to me? If I'm hearing this and this information is being relayed to me as an officer, I know I'm dealing with someone who has some suicide tendencies, or they are suffering from a mental health crisis in this moment, right? Because now you have a confirmation from a loved one or a family member who's able to confirm that this person is serious about committing, serious about carrying it out. And they're confident that the person will actually do it. Well, listen, this is obviously this is a lot. It's a lot to take in. I can't even fathom what the family, what they're going through. I believe someone said that he lost his mother, prior to this. So we don't know, we don't know the things that people go through, you guys, and life is hard. We all visit this. We all have these moments and these chapters in our lives, and sometimes multiple times throughout our lifetime, we have these low moments. But you guys, we have to fight. We have to fight on. And sometimes some people feel like that, they're tired, they're exhausted. Sometimes the moment of today is just so unbearable. And I've heard people, whether family, friends, coworkers, I've done a lot of seminars where I speak to officers. As you guys know, that's a leading cause of death, is suicide amongst in our profession. And I get an opportunity to talk to those who've attempted and failed, attempted and survived, contemplated and chose not to. And when in that moment they felt they were lost, but what they found going through that has catapulted them in a new world, a new life, where they are actually now serving others through their own weaknesses. And in a moment of weakness, they found strength. And through that strength, they use that to serve others. And they find a new gear of life that they shift into. And I always say the 3 F's are the most important. 3 F's. Faith, family, and friends. Those 3 pillars are so important, you guys. And I always tell people that, we don't want to use permanent methods. to address temporary things. And it's about motivating people to see the beauty of tomorrow and wanting to fight to get there. And to know that by taking yourself away, you're taking a piece of the people that you definitely don't want to hurt. People I've talked to, they never want to hurt the people that they're leaving behind. And so there's a challenge to it, and I get it. You have to be able to have gone through something similar to be able to relate. And trust me, I definitely understand. And I can only imagine, you guys. I can't. So this is obviously it's a very sensitive subject for me, as well. And it's very difficult when people have lost a loved one from it. Because the $1 million question, we always want to know why, could you, you could always come to me, you can always talk to me, and things like that. Sometimes you don't see any signs. Sometimes you have signs. And, I believe a lot of times it could be spiritual, nothing like a good old slap of some water on the forehead and some good old prayers, boy. But again, faith, family, and friends, I think is always a win. It's always a good formula to start. You guys, if you know anyone suffering from mental health or suicide, depression, you guys, get them the help they need. Talk to them, find a way to show them the beauty of tomorrow and the desires of next week. You know what I mean? And let them fall in love with next year. Sometimes we have to find a new purpose and a new reason, a new desire, So anyways, prayers out to the family, you guys. When we get more information as far as the police involvement, I'm definitely going to follow up. I'd be curious. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you know anyone who has been a victim of this? Have you struggled with suicide? Be curious to know your thoughts. I think it'd be great to have a great, healthy discussion in the comment section. Let me know if you have been, you have suffered from it. How did you recover? What were the things that helped you? And what things could you pass on to others who might be struggling with that? So, we can have a whole session here in the comment section, guys. I love you guys. Good night and God bless.